If you haven't seen the previous video in this series, follow the link on your screen or click the link in the description or pinned comment below.
Here's the ending of part 1 in case for some reason you decided, you know what, I think it's about time I went to my first Harry Potter movie when The Deathly Hallows Part 2 came out. It rehashes last movie's ending like we're not already pressed for time here.
One, it's barely a rehash considering all they're doing is reminding you he acquired Dumbledore's wand and the fact they skipped the creepy part of the scene where Voldemort was kiss distance. And two, you just implied there isn't anyone watching this movie that hasn't seen the others, ignoring that the last movie came out 8 months prior. Who was going to a Harry Potter movie pressed for time? You're speaking out of both sides of your mouth again. Either they're unfamiliar with Harry Potter, or pressed for time and needed the reminder, or they're familiar with Harry Potter and understand they're in for a 2-hour flick.
22 seconds of logo!
Which is less than the last movie. One would think you'd give credit where it's due, but considering how you've convinced your lemmings that you actually remove sins for short logos, here I am again pointing out you don't.
Magical military marching formations.
You know we can see that too, right?
Finally, the conclusion to the half movie you watched nearly a goddamn year ago.
And here is the reason I went on that long-ass rant in the first sin. You are implying the first movie was a long time ago, but in the first sin, you said we didn't need the reminder of what happened. If both sides of your mouth were any wider, I'd think you were giving a double blowjob.
Harry and friends forget to etch Dobby's ex machina accomplishments on his tombstone. Yep, they can use magic to engrave the headstone, but not to bring Dobby back to life. Oh well, f*** Dobby.
Amazing. You just complained about Deus Ex Machinas in relation to Dobby, and then the very next thing you criticized the film for is not producing a Deus Ex Machina. You know, because aside from the huge, not really, that is the Resurrection Stone, bringing someone back from the dead through magic has never once been shown as a possibility in this universe, meaning it would be a true Deus Ex Machina. You fucking idiot.
They're holding the goblin prisoner in this room, but probably didn't even bother to explain to him how the 4 seashells work.
PB, I'll let you take over these stupid things as I'm over-repeating myself.
No problem, FB. Jeremy makes a Demolition Man pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the movie cliche.
How did you come by this sword?
It's complicated.
Every time someone asks Harry how he got his sword, he tells them it's too long or too complicated a story to tell. But all he has to say is, a hologram deer showed me the way, and in the magic world, I guess that would earn a respectful nod.
It's obviously far more complicated than that, considering Harry doesn't know how the sword ended up in the river in the first place. But I guess we're pretending you wouldn't send even that explanation, especially because it doesn't explain anything anyway.
The sword presented itself to us in a moment of need.
We're still debating why that bastard sword waited so damn long in our moment of need. We can't—
Let's stop. Harry just explained to Griphook how he got the sword, and you're ignoring that this contradicts your previous sin. That's the sin.
Also, is this a good time to ask why this sword was ever created in the first place? Godric Gryffindor actually said to himself, magic, magic everywhere, but I need a sword to kill some fools.
We good here?
Are you thinking there's Horcruxes in Bellatrix's vault?
In the last movie, Bellatrix went crazy trying to figure out how they got into her vault, which leads Harry to make a somewhat ridiculous leap that there might be a Horcrux in there too. This is all because Snape put a fake sword of Gryffindor in her vault, for reasons I will never begin to understand. Sure, Voldemort might have said, we need to get that sword. It has basilisk venom on it after the events of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, but he has shown time and time again that he's not that forward-thinking or careful or observant.
Just like you, apparently. Snape puts the fake sword in Bellatrix's vault to gain the trust of Voldemort. At this time, Death Eaters were in control of the Ministry and would have seen that Dumbledore left the sword to Harry in his will, hinting at its importance. Snape puts the actual sword in a safe place and the fake one in the vault to divert attention from the real one, which has the capability to destroy Horcruxes. As I told you in the previous video, Harry is not stupid. Bellatrix just spent the climax of the previous film interrogating them, clearly afraid they discovered something else. If Tom entrusts Bellatrix to guard something like the sword, then it's not that big a leap to believe there might be something else more valuable in her vault.
This was the wand of Draco Malfoy.
Was. Is it not still?
Well, perhaps not, if you won it from him.
Now, in the 8th movie, the series finally explains why using other people's wands can be difficult.
That's because this detail is important to this film's plot. I will never understand people demanding explanations for things that aren't crucial to understanding the story that's being told, and then calling them plot holes. Internet movie discourse was a mistake.
You know one exists. You told him about it.
Part 1's pronoun game usage set a world record, and Part 2 drives it into overkill. I don't even care if he can refer to only one person.
Now you're cheating. Whenever you invoke the pronoun game, what you're saying is the person listening has to ask who is being referred to, which makes using a pronoun redundant. But here, you know there is an issue with saying Smoldemort's name, and you know they both know who Harry is referring to.
Where in the f*** did they manage to get a Bellatrix hair?
Into my vault! Who stole it?
You mean this hair? Dude, aren't you married? All every girlfriend I've ever had to do was breathe and their hair would be all over me.
Madame Lestrange, would you mind presenting your wand?
And why should I do that?
Instead of just presenting Bellatrix's real wand, which they have, they go with the "these aren't the droids you're looking for" plan, which granted works, but still, overcomplicated plan is overcomplicated.
You ain't paying attention. They know Bellatrix's wand is missing. If Hermiatrix produces it, they will know that isn't the real her. Put two and two together, numbnuts.
Imperium. Very well, Madame Lestrange.
We're in the magic world where people can change into other people and do all sorts of magic spells. So it's weird that this goblin behind the guy who just got roofied decides, well, this story seemed like bullshit to me, and my boss demanded the wand and completely changed his mind for no reason, but f*** it. They don't pay me enough to argue. Also, wouldn't that mind control spell come in handy a number of times previous to and succeeding this occasion?
It's like this man took stupid pills and forgot about the fourth movie explaining this is one of the 3 unforgivable curses that will land you in Azkaban.
Ah, Smaug!
Don't you mean Fafnir?
They've added the Gemino curse. Everything you touch will multiply.
And that's their last defense? Thing multiplication?
Sounds easy, until you realize not only can you no longer find the thing you're trying to steal, but you're also being buried under a billion pieces of metal, slowly suffocating to death. You know, like me.
Also, why isn't this damn thing behind a series of magical curses and defenses? You know all those protection charms they keep putting around themselves in part 1? Why not those, plus some murdery ones?
Asks why they don't have a series of magical protections after not only having shown multiple magical protections, but also currently showing one of those magical protections.
Who's got an idea?
I have one. Apparate somewhere not here.
You just suggested they have the ability to teleport in and out of a magical bank.
And none of the Muggles saw the obvious dragon destroying roofs and flying over London, because Muggles are the least f***ing observant species on the planet in these movies.
So you're a Muggle then? Because we have been shown time and again that Muggles do see these events but have their memories erased.
Oh, there's more. One of them's at Hogwarts.
Harry's connection to Voldemort is actually a cool plot point that has been developed well over the series, but only just now does it tell Harry where the next Horcrux is, because they had no idea where to go after the bank heist.
Because it wasn't until now that Voldemort learned of their campaign against his soul tokens.
I'm fine with 2 naked male torsos.
And we're going to go ahead and skip this because you know where the fuck he's going with this.
You're the one who sent Dobby.
With the amazing timing of a plot convenience, I might add.
A plot convenience? What do those words even mean? What does plot hole mean? You've dumbed down these words and have emboldened all these so-called critics on the internet with this bullshit, and now these phrases are meaningless. There was literally a scene in the previous film showing Harry asking Aberforth, who he thought was Albus, for help, and he sends the elf to help them. How is that a plot convenience? Because that allowed the protagonist to escape a situation? Wouldn't that mean every single time a protagonist solves a problem, it's a plot convenience? See how this shit doesn't make any sense?
I don't remember this on the Marauders map. That's because it never existed till now.
So, a magical painting of Dumbledore's sister just dug a secret tunnel to Hogwarts. That I am totally down with, and have no questions about. What I am concerned with is why this kind of magic couldn't have been used in so many other situations before this. But I guess I should just expect it by now.
This man is so that he believes the painting is what dug this tunnel out instead of the room of requirement.
Sure, the guy who's supposed to be incognito right now. Let's cheer and clap when he shows up. That can't possibly raise suspicion.
Again, this is the room of requirement. No one outside of the room can hear the events going on in the room, as they would have been exposed 2 years ago when they were practicing spells here.
Again, here's some awesome magic being conducted without a wand. Wands are important, then they aren't, depending on what the story needs.
This moron still can't understand that wands are a conduit that allows a wizard to focus their magic. Actually, this moron probably doesn't know what the word conduit even means.
Lead Miss Parkinson and the rest of Slytherin House from the hall.
Where is it I'll be leading them to, Mom?
The dungeons would do.
Patriot Act. Also, this goes back to what we said a long time ago about Slytherin House. If you're picked by the Sorting Hat to go there, you're basically being told you're an evil person. And in this case, it's all the Slytherin.
The point is that in this case, everyone in Slytherin actually sided with evil. I don't know what everyone's problem is with accepting that Slytherin is representative of evil in these stories. That's clearly what JK was trying to get across. No one cares that you got sorted into Slytherin on Pottermore, fangirl. In the books, Slytherin houses the antagonists of the series.
Hogwarts is threatened! Man the boundaries! Protect us!
Fuck me. Hogwarts had a statue army this whole time and never once used it all the times Hogwarts needed protecting?
Do us a favor. Name all the times the school needed protecting from Sorcerer's Stone until now.
Also, super powerful looking force field spell makes its first appearance in the final f***ing battle, despite appearing to be the perfect spell for several previous perilous incidents.
This is literally the same spell you saw Hermione cast in the previous movie, and you complained about it then too.
Are there any rules concerning the protective enchantments these wizards are always putting up around themselves? Can they be broken? Or do they just delay a surprise attack? They didn't matter at the Weasley house earlier.
See? Stupid pills.
Kelly MacDonald isn't my ghostly girlfriend, or having my ghost babies, or allowing me to play Egon Spengler with my fully functional proton pack in this scene.
Jeremy says boner.
Ron can speak Parseltongue because finale.
Harry talks in his sleep.
F*** you.
I was gonna let this slide. Until you played Ron's explanation, which is a perfectly good one considering the amount of times Harry has been shown to talk in his sleep due to his connection with Tom Brady, or whatever his name is.
Kingsley's spell is exactly the same bullshit that turned Jessica Alba and the others into the Fantastic Four.
You say this like that Fantastic Four wasn't excellent casting. I mean, yeah, Chris Evans was a great Captain America, but he was a dope Human Torch too. And I mean, look at Alba in this costume, yo.
So I guess Harry really needed to get into this rumor requirement, but then so did these assholes following it. Whatever, I guess, but it seems like the rumor requirement's just taking all comers at this point.
So we're sending a non-biased thing for being non-biased now, eh? I guess nuance is no longer the currency of the realm.
Why didn't you tell her?
Who's her?
His mother, you bird brain. Like, did you forget you sinned the previous movie? And if you needed a refresher, why did you complain about the movie doing that in the first sin?
Don't be a brat. To him.
If by do him you mean make love to, then that's probably okay in Voldemort's book. But you cannot kill Harry Potter because of the stupid rule that only he can kill him. So this scene just got robbed of its tension. How does it feel?
He says about a movie that's based on a book where the conclusion was known roughly 4 years before this movie came out.
Oh look, brooms! Right when we need them!
Room of requirement.
We don't know any spells that work against giants. Run!
The implication is that magic doesn't affect giants much if at all. This is precisely why Ron, Hermione, nor Harry thought to attack the giant with magic. Didn't you do the homework? This was on page 493.
While you live, the Elder Wand cannot truly be mine.
We've seen Voldemort doing all sorts of magic with this wand, but because it's resisting him, he decides to kill Snape, believing that the wand will truly be his after that. But then what? What is it that he can't do right now that he could do with a more compliant wand? This is the more power problem at work, because the movie can't sufficiently tell us what more power means.
It's almost like you don't realize this movie is part 2, meaning there is a previous part that explains this. No-Nose is trying to kill Harry, and his multiple attempts at doing so failed. He believes it's because he needs the Elder Wand. I mean, these movies hold your hand explaining this multiple times. Why the fuck don't you understand this?
Man, if only I knew which Weasley this was, I might feel a bit bad about this.
Sinning the death of Fred Weasley? That's worth these many sins.
Snape's tears posthumously absolve him of any wrongdoing, so the audience, Harry, won't hate him.
Jeremy points out things on the screen cliché.
Sorting Hat is a dick to Snape's love life.
Because he's from Tennessee, Jeremy thinks you can only date someone from your own house. Alright, dude, that was 3 in a row. This is my video, remember?
Hi, I'm Lily.
Let's get married later and rub Snape's face in our love.
Alright, fuck it. Go ahead, PB. Jeremy yells at the screen cliché.
Voldemort based his plot to kill Harry Potter on this witch's prophecy. And as likable as she is, she's awful at predicting, and it's incredible he took her so seriously.
Trelawney didn't just make a prediction, she made a prophecy. In Harry Potter, those are accurate.
A part of Voldemort's soul latched itself onto the only living thing it could find.
What? Since when does Horcrux manufacturing work that way? Every single Horcrux Harry has destroyed has been inside some sort of object, not a living thing.
I love the slick wording you're using there. Notice Jeremy says, every single Horcrux Harry has destroyed, as if Dumbledore is talking about every Horcrux Harry has destroyed. He worded it that way to avoid talking about Nagini, a Horcrux that is alive. This is pure dishonesty.
Also, I don't know if we sent it before. Probably did, but f*** it. This spell Lily put on Harry should have been cast on every damn person at Hogwarts before this battle started.
Yes, you have said this before, and like Present Birdman told you, this kind of magic requires someone to die. You just asked for half the fighting force to kill themselves.
Man, Hogwarts is trashed. I guess I should feel lost, but I know they'll use the same spell that fixed the Weasley's house, so I guess the destruction isn't anything I should really care about.
Yeah, so why the fuck are you pointing it out? It's not like the film is saying you should feel sorry for the castle, so what even is this sin?
You've been so brave, sweetheart.
Actually, that's all he's been. All 8 movies, bravery is really the only heroic characteristic he's displayed. All the solutions have either been found by his friends or handed to him on an ex machina platter.
Ignoring that this isn't even true, are you agreeing with the movie and still sinning it? Pretty sure we have a cliche for that.
I guess it would have caused some serious spirit world marital discord if Snape had been allowed into Harry's people who loved him reunion.
Especially because Snape didn't love Harry.
It's at times like these when I wonder why Voldemort doesn't do that throat-slitting thing he did to Snape. Seems like he'd be unable to recover from that. Although, to be fair, Harry shouldn't be able to recover from this either. So it goes.
Probably because A, the throat slit wasn't what killed Snape. That was Nagini. And B, Harry is like 24 feet away from him right now. I don't know, just a thought.
Wow, Magic Heaven looks fake as shit. Speaking of Magic Heaven, do they have their own separate heaven from the Muggle one? Because if so, even God's racist in this universe.
If he existed, I'm sure God would also be racist in our universe, but that's a topic for a different time.
Well, that's f***ing disgusting. Makes you wonder what's going on in Magic Hell.
Considering this is a fetus, I'm sure the people that repealed Roe v. Wade will be happy to tell you when they get there.
Help will always be given at Hogwarts, Harry. To those who ask for it.
Unless you're Harry Potter in the first 7 movies, of course.
Except, didn't you say this earlier?
You've been so brave, sweetheart.
Actually, that's all he's been. All 8 movies, bravery is really the only heroic characteristic he's displayed. All the solutions have either been found by his friends or handed to him on an ex machina platter. Why isn't this asshole 3,000 miles?
I'd just like to point out something I started doing years ago and people don't seem to understand why. Notice the sin counter doesn't change even though CinemaSins ding the ding.
Why isn't this asshole 3,000 miles?
I began doing this as a way of pointing out they sometimes don't update the sin counter, but somehow people still don't get it. You fucking idiots.
There's a basilisk fang, so why did he tell Dumbledore he had nothing to kill the last Horcrux with?
The snake's still alive, and I've nothing to kill it with.
Because he didn't have the fang at that time. You cut out the scene right before this where Hermione gave him the fang.
Man, this Elder Wand just won't obey Voldemort, will it?
It's because he's not its master, and you already know that.
I'll start with that. I'm working my way up to more dangerous things, but you get the point.
Hermione is throwing rocks at the snake to get its attention and separate it from Moldavort, not kill it.
The deleted scene includes the part where the mice eat all the pieces, and then the cats eat all the mice. Director said that's overkill. Also, Mama Weasley so easily dispatches Bellatrix that I'm not sure whether to be impressed with Mama Weasley or disappointed at the supposedly historically badass Bellatrix.
So, you understand that the films have been showing Bellatrix as a badass, but you can't understand that the goal here is to show that Molly is even more badass? Dude, I'm concerned about how you poop without missing the toilet.
Neville Ex Machina, or is it Longbottom Ex Machina? Whatever sounds dumber.
I damn near removed a sin for you recognizing how dumb you sound. Then I realized, you don't realize how dumb you sound.
Harry does the right thing.
Jeremy gives the movie a sin for something he unironically agrees with. I'm almost certain we have a cliche for that.
Hermione's kids are a reminder that Hermione and Ron had sex at least twice.
Sounds like jealousy to me, which is weird considering she's in her mid-30s here. We all know you like 'em young.
All was well. Well, guys, that's going to bring us to the end of the mainline Harry Potter series. I had a lot of fun making this series for you guys, as did my guy, Future Birdman over there hanging in the cut, who apparently is inside the Gryffindor common room yet again. But before we go, I'd like to share a passage out of the book, and it's special because I have the world's only copy of this version of Deathly Hallows. You see, J.K. wrote in this book a poem on the last page, and I'm going to read it for you guys because I think it's very relevant to this series. So here we go. The poem is called "These Slytherin Niggas Always Be Crying." These Slytherin niggas always be crying, but say nothing when their housemates cause all the dying. They'll cry, "Just to be fair, Slughorn was a square," and I'll say, "That doesn't mean he wasn't trying." You know, because he was collecting people, and that's problematic. You know, just like Ezra Miller. So, as always, fuck Slytherin.